If I learned anything from my Irish Catholic upbringing, is that anything that is fun is a sinful abomination. And a lot of people translate that same thinking to playing guitar. I get a lot of questions like, oh, what am I doing wrong? How come I'm not getting it any better? And a lot of it is really just we're not having fun playing the instrument anymore. So today I'm rocking out a Donner electric guitar. This thing is $160, brand new on Amazon or wherever. I'll link you to it in the description. And we're just going to kind of do some stuff that is simple. Anybody can do it. And we're just bringing back the basics of what made guitar fun at the beginning when you're first learning. And we're not going to worry about taking it to an advanced level. We're just going to have a good old time. It's going to sound like this. Now, there's going to be a million variations we're going to talk about, but it all comes down to just two super simple chords, right? This is going to be a C major chord and a D major chord. Okay, now we're using what a lot of people think of as the A-shaped version of it, like if you just play A major, 2, 2, and 2. All of this that we're going to do at the beginning is just going to be on the D, G, and B strings, okay? So when we start to play this C major chord, this is that same thing, but it's 5D, 5G, 5B. In fact, this could be like the bottom part of a bar chord like that. And we're just going to move this 2 frets higher to D, all right? So C to D. I'm playing this just thumb, pointer, middle finger with my fingers. You can do the same thing with a pick. Right? But what we're going to do is we're going to start just incorporating really little easy things that you can do to kind of make it sound like you're playing lead, playing rhythm, kind of combining them, but making it a practice routine that is actually fun to play because we're taking some of the great things about guitar, specifically that minor pentatonic shape, and just running it into these same chords. All right, so first we need a rhythm and we need a count. The one we're going to use is going to be like this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and space. And again, the space there at the end of the second chord, the second bar, is where we're going to start filling a lot of that in, which is different things, which we're going to demonstrate in a second. So again, the count: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now again, if we want to get really into how exactly I'm doing it, which should not be the way you're trying to do this, just whatever. We're just playing a couple bars of C. I'm getting all 3 strings on the 1 count, 1 and 2. The 2, I'm just coming down, hitting the string set. I'm playing through the Fender 65 reissue, so you get that cool kind of reverb splash there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So 1 and 2, the and of 2, I'm grabbing the G and B string, then I'm grabbing what I'm thinking of as kind of like the lowest string, so the D string. 1 and 2 and 3, so the 3 gets the D string again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and of 3 gets G and B again, and then the 4 gets that hit again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 to the D chord. And then that second time around, the second bar for D's spot, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. That's going to be the opportunity where we're going to travel into our favorite minor pentatonic shape, right? If we were thinking of the E minor pentatonic scale. But we're just sticking on the D, G, and B strings to simplify everything we're doing, all right? So the notes that I'm targeting are going to be 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15. Okay, so we have that D's second bar to just fill with any of these notes in any order. Okay, so we've got the C, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and second bar. First bar of D. I hit the 1, then back to C's shape, right? If that's too fast, just whatever you can do there. Just fill that second bar. Try to get back to that C on time. Again, it's just a lot of fun because you can just, even though there's only 6 notes here, you can rip off all the best like pentatonic licks, blues licks. Whatever you want to do, just try to jam it in there. Play it at whatever speed you can do to get back to that C on time. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. drum track or a metronome or something to kind of help you do it, I'm just kind of tapping my foot. It's just like fun. Just knowing where you're going. Maybe make a guitar face next time you do it. Get it ready. It's so great, right? So I think that's really good practice because you're jumping from two simple, well, it's the same chord voicing and just two different chords, C to D, into a totally different spot, and then kind of working it away in a way where you're working on your timing also. Now, it's unnecessary to even go this high up. I think it's kind of fun. The more movement that I incorporate in my playing, the more fun and the more engaged I kind of tend to be. That's why, even if it's inefficient, I kind of like jumping through different positions, right? Now, you can do the same thing and be way more efficient about it just by using the notes in this area that you can always use with these two major chords, right? So C major to D major. So again, let's talk about just the C major here, and maybe let's start to inflect that chord spot instead of just like staying. Instead of giving the last two bars all the shine, let's do something here, all right? And again, something that's really easy that gets overlooked, and that's why chord voicings are very important even when you're thinking about playing with scales and stuff, is all right, well, I've got this chord and this chord. Well, since I have the 5th fret, D, G, and B, and the 7th fret, D, G, and B, I can turn that into a scale, 5-7, 5-7, 5-7. I know that those two chords go together. I can think about them as being, you know, the 4 and the 5 chords in the key of G, but we're not even really kind of going into that. We're just sticking here and here, and then because I'm playing those back to back, I know that those notes are always going to work, right? So maybe I can kind of inflect that C chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, so you'll notice that maybe the first bar, I'll do the same thing. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and second time around. I'm really just kind of jumping through those 6 notes that I'm already playing with the chord voicings, right? And again, the better you get at that, the more you kind of visualize it, the easier of a time your fingers are actually going to have kind of just going through it. Because a lot of what kind of limits people in maybe getting better at the instrument or maybe not thinking that they're good enough is they can do little moves like those hammer-ons, but they just don't know where to put them, right? And I think linking those together is a way that can be very daunting at first, and that's what kind of, you know, stops people from having fun with the instrument because like, oh, I got to practice my modes and I got to practice this and try to do these licks and stuff like that. Really just getting creative, I think, is like the whole key to the entire thing, right? So, doing this in different ways, you can hammer on through it. Again, that's just whatever you want to call that a lick. I don't care what you call it, but I'm just hammering on the D string to the G string. Then I'm going back to the D string. Use your ears to try to like emulate maybe something you've heard. I can double stop through it. Play 2 of those notes at once. Right, something like that. And again, I can do the same thing on the D chord. Now, if we want to talk about the notes in this area, I think the best way to do that is, again, thinking of specific keys, but the trick that you can do is we can kind of mirror everything we did on the C chord, but that note right there doesn't really fit because, again, in the key that we're thinking of this in, it should be there, right? So if we want to kind of make a little mini scale over where this D chord is sitting, we would just go 7, 9, 7, 9, 7, 8. Okay, and then instead of jumping to this spot here, which again, these are all just sharing the same notes in different locations, we can do this here. So the C chord, then inflect it with its spot to D. Same thing. like, I mean, I'm having fun just kind of doing this. It sounds impressive, which is what you're always trying to do when you're trying to act at least like you're having fun. If you can trick other people into thinking that you're having fun playing the instrument, eventually you just fall for it yourself and you start having fun yourself, okay? Again, I think this is one of the simplest ways to do it. 2 chords. We can think of these as different scales when it's really, honestly, the same scale. But we're kind of doing it in a way where we're making connections, which I think is the most important way to kind of go about it. Now you can do all this stuff on an acoustic guitar as well. Again, that's why this guitar is actually pretty great. $160. I just remember like 10 years ago, if you were to spend like $150 on a guitar, it would be absolute trash. So the fact that like they actually make these that sound great and play great right out of the box is really kind of ridiculous. But we can do something in open chords, kind of do the same thing, right? We'll do the same chords, but do them open. So we have a C chord. For the D chord, I want to use the same voicing and just come down here. You could easily do a high D major chord if you want, but we're going to do the same thing. Open chord wise, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so all I'm doing there is I'm taking open, C, and D major shapes, right? And again, the name of that is different here, but it's just the C chord, 3A, 2, D, open G, 1, B, and then just moved 2 frets higher. And then what I'm thinking of is I'm thinking of the E minor pentatonic scale, just like we did up here. And now we can do it up here, where if we do the whole pentatonic position, which everybody probably has already learned, open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3, right? And then I'm doing the same thing. I'm just leaving room in that second bar for those open hammer-ons. I can still run it higher into the original. Okay, so really just kind of make these simple connections if you don't take anything else from this lesson. It's just that we have a C major chord here and a D chord here. We can always connect those with the notes that make up those chords. We can extend them through the scale, add some kind of rhythm. You can incorporate the same thing in the open chords. So again, I think this is kind of a cool way to look at it because we really took 2 chords, but we started up here. We kind of have this open thing we can do down here. Run this, into this, all the way into this. Yeah, that's a lot of real estate, right? Because again, I really think that I'm guilty of this too, is it's so easy to complicate what you're doing to try to sound different. And really some of the fun stuff on guitar is just kind of simple major or minor triads, chords, and then kind of just taking those awesome pentatonic licks and bends and hammer-ons that almost, I think you go through a progression where when you first start learning it, it's like, wow, I can play these. I can actually do this. Sounds good. And then you get, if you're like a contrarian like me, you're like, I'm going to stay away from those because I'm more of an artist. And it's like, just get over yourself and come back to it because it's kind of like the funnest thing to play. So anyways, thanks for checking it out. If you have any questions or comments, hit me in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, the website. Check out this guitar on Amazon, $160, ridiculous. And again, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks a lot.